So the last printmaking method I want to show is the found object prints. What you're going to need to do is go around your house, your room, and find objects that maybe would normally go into the trash. You don't need anymore because you're going to get them dirty. So here's some objects I found around the house that I was trying with stuff with. I had a potato. It was starting to go bad, and we cut it in half, and on one of them I was making prints with it plain, and the other half I carved designs into it. Had a lemon that was starting to go, so I went ahead and cut that in half and was trying to make a print with that. My son had Duplo blocks from when he was little. I did try some printing with this lace piece here, but I gotta say, I don't think we'll be using that again. It didn't quite work out for what I wanted to do with it. So I'm actually going to set this aside. There's also a little bobbin I use for sewing, buttons. Here's a screw head that works good for printing. So those are the materials I'm going to use to print with. I have a piece of paper here that I cut into a square. And we can go ahead and get started here. On my tray, I'm going to be putting in some acrylic paint. If you have tempera paint at your house, you can use that. I don't know if watercolors, I didn't really try it with watercolors, to be honest, because watercolors don't really stick as well to the surface of what you'd be using to print with. Sorry. There we go. Get a little bit more color there. And let's go ahead and throw in some blue. So I'm going to use the primary colors here, red, yellow, blue. It's really magenta, yellow, blue. And what we want to do is to start printing on the surface. So I'm going to go ahead and dip this potato into a little bit of yellow paint here. And I also have a little bit of paper towel somewhere that I can use to dab off any extra paint, but I don't see it handy. I think yep, there it is. My cats must have knocked it off the table. So if you have paper towels handy to blot off a little bit of the extra paint so it doesn't get too goobery. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start pressing the potato on. And if you want this to be something that is very symmetrical, you could fold your paper into 4 parts. So you have it in quadrants. Right now I've just got it symmetrical left to right. Let's see if I mix in a little bit of, try to lift up some of that magenta in there. Get a little color variation. And potatoes are really cool because, again, you can carve a design into them. So it makes for a neat piece of art. All right, let's try the little screw head here. I'm going to dip that into some blue paint and I'm going to put it into the empty spaces here. Sometimes it's interesting to see what kind of patterns and designs you can make with these objects because they're somewhat rather unexpected here. We'll use a little bit of this marker bottom. Get a nice circle off of that. And this is actually, markers are a nice tool too when you're working with clay to do impressions or prints on clay. I'm going to try the top of a Duplo blocks. Kind of an interesting pattern. I don't know if this needs more or not. This is where it gets to be tough as an art person because you think maybe a little bit more or maybe I'm going to be overkill. But what the heck? Why not? Get the lemon in there. Okay. So there is a found object print. And that should be that. We'll let that dry and it'll be done.